as of basically a week ago, the tax cuts, big electricity rebates began to flow. The news will get better for family finances on average, and that is going to make a bunch of things better. But it may be too late for a number of retail businesses. This slowdown has been centred on family finances. No wonder that family sentiment, as seen in those Westpac and ANZ numbers today, remains so very weak.
And that with that sentiment diving, people also expecting their financial positions could in fact worsen from here. Of course, I guess the data that completes the trifecta of poor economic news today is the fall in job ads as well.
Yeah, down over a third from their peak. All of the measures out today are consistent with the thought that unemployment is going to get worse before it gets better. I guess the only caveat I'd note, a lot of publicity around the risk of rate rises would have played into some of the numbers today, whereas, funnily enough, those tax cuts, even though they've been coming forever, I suspect will still be a bit of a surprise for many families. It will be fascinating to watch if that gap between consumer sentiment and business sentiment, very evident in the last couple of years, closes a bit once people realise that their hip pocket is better.
Of course, one of the major costs for households and businesses is fuel, and it is again on the rise. Will the RBA look through that, though, when it shows up in the June quarter inflation number?
A brief reminder to everybody why you're happy that you don't work at the Reserve Bank, right? There is a whole lot of stuff now, different measures going in different directions. If you sit back from all of it, you would say Australia still has an inflation problem, much improved, but the pace of improvement has slowed down a lot, and yet the economy is getting weaker still. And those jaws, the closing of those jaws, is a real problem for them.
Chris, what will the RBA do next then?
I would still say that the inflation data at the end of this month will be make or break. If the 3 months to June have an underlying inflation across that period of 1% or higher, I would say that the bank will hike. It's a very reluctant to do that, but at some point you would say that it would have to happen. If that number comes in 0.9, 0.8, then they will sit on their hands. But my true suggestion to anybody listening is don't focus on whether rates go up in the next little while. The bigger picture message is rates stay relatively high for a long time now.
Chris, I've asked you this before. What's the risk of recession given all these indicators?
I would say it's low. I mean, there are stories around, and good economists saying it's high. You can't drop close to 2% of national income on the economy through tax cuts and electricity and other rebates and not expect the economy to improve. Most economists see the pace of economic growth picking up in the latter half of this year. Trouble is, that the pickup in growth is actually part of the continuing inflation risk. So I'm an economist. The good news always has bad news attached.
Chris Richardson, thanks so much for your insights.
Thanks, Rachel.